What's going on, everybody? I'm just getting home from a long stretch, about a 3-week tournament stretch, where we went to Pickwick for a little benefit event, the Le Bonheur tournament. Very fortunate, had a good tournament there, and immediately left to finish up the Toyota series, the Plains division. Of course, most of you know we were able to have a decent tournament there, a top 10, and really solidify the AOI. And then we jumped right into Pickwick again with the BFL regional. So just unpacking, thought I'd go through some stuff. I learned some stuff there at Lake of the Ozarks and some stuff that I thought I would share with you. So, you know, going into that event, having never been to Lake of the Ozarks, I wasn't exactly sure, you know, what would play. Obviously, there's a ton of boat docks there, and that's always a player, but I'm always that kind of that guy that wants to find something a little different, something off the beaten path. If I can find a pattern that's different than, say, the 70-80% of the field, then I feel like I've set myself apart and I've got an opportunity to, you know, to put some separation instead of just trying to get a bigger bite than everybody else. So I had a ton of different dobbins laid out throughout practice and through a ton of different stuff. But what I really kind of dialed in was that the fish were, as we expected, and kind of the way it's been all summer and fall. They were a little bit of everywhere, not anywhere, not one set pattern. But, you know, I learned very quickly we needed to be able to cover water. And something that I was really, I was really hoping that this was going to play in the tournament. So in kind of back up conditions-wise, it was overcast, very still, calm, but good biting conditions all throughout practice. It would, you know, sprinkle on us a little bit, but overall just good cloudy, kind of good fishing conditions. And what I figured out is this little 1/8 ounce Buckeye Berserk swim bait, or excuse me, buzz bait with a little pro swimmer on the back, little swim bait, just a small profile that I could actually skip around, you know, in between some of these pontoons, in these real tight spots around some of these docks, but also just kind of in between, could run it over some of these cables, skip it under them. It was just a great bait that, you know, fairly weedless. I did lose a few of them up in the very front end of a dock that I could not get out, but, you know, every now and then you'd make a wild cast. But it was a great bait to cover a bunch of water, and I would get a bunch of bites, and also have a bunch follow it that, you know, that wouldn't commit. I'm assuming I could probably chunk a little wacky rig or, you know, maybe even a D-shad, something back to them. But in practice, my main focus was just understanding and learning the water, trying to figure out where I was seeing fish and where I was getting blow-ups and where I'm not. But I really encourage you. This is an 1/8 ounce model, so it's a tiny model. You'll notice I'm throwing it on a spinning rod. You can throw it on a bait caster. Again, with me skipping it around some of these docks, I really wanted it on a spinning rod, just kind of one less factor to worry with. But I will note, I do kind of go up on, you know, my rod size as far as my power. So this is a 703 Dobbins Champion Series. I want a little more backbone. When one bites this thing way up under a pontoon boat, I really want some bone there to be able to turn her head and get her going in the direction that we want. But the cool thing with this little buzz bait is it's a very small package. So you can see, even with a little pro swimmer on there, it's smaller than the palm of my hand, yet it is very loud. It's got the way that this bait is designed, the blade is actually going to clack on the head. And so it's, again, we all know in the fall, you know, we have a lot of small bait fish, and oftentimes it's kind of hard to match that hatch. But this has been something that I'm really excited about, and something that we're definitely going to expand on. But it was a cool way. I don't know that I've ever caught them, you know, skipping a buzz bait up under docks. I'm sure a ton of guys are giggling and laughing. I'm sure that's something that they do all the time. But you know, here at Kentucky Lake TVA, we just honestly don't fish a tremendous amount of boat docks. And so it was fun. It was refreshing for about 2-3 days to go do something a little different. However, I will tell you, you will not see me fishing around a boat dock for a very long time. I've had enough of that for quite some time. But that was a player in practice, and again, I was really excited going into the tournament, you know, thinking that even if the sun came out, you know, it would pull those fish tighter, get them more up under those docks, and I thought that I could really catch a bunch skipping that thing around, and it just really didn't play when the sun came out and it got really still. There was a lot more boat traffic on the lake, of course. Things just kind of shut down. I didn't see as many of those shallow fish kind of easing around, cruising. And what we had to do really was just kind of slow down. So, again, after practice, I had pretty well narrowed down my search to kind of halfway back into these bays, some of these flatter banks and long tapering points with brush, and then again the shallowest boat docks that you can find. It's kind of the age-old Lake of the Ozarks pattern. But so I didn't feel like that I found anything different or off the wall, so to speak. So I really put a lot of emphasis on how can I get a few extra bites in these areas. Because look, it was pretty obvious when you would pull into an area, which side you would need to go down and which was, probably not going to be as productive. And so what I ended up coming up with, and it was really cool. This is something that I gained a lot of confidence in this week. This is an okie worm. So again, traditionally, I'll take a new one out of a pack here. This is a 10 and a half inch worm. But what I've done is I've actually cut this worm down to roughly about 7 inches. So trying to hold this up in comparison. So you'll notice I've cut quite a bit off of that worm. But what I did, and you ask, well, why'd you not Nico a 6-inch Cinco or a big bite magworm? There are a lot of different options, and I tried a lot of different worms. Caught some on several, but this okie worm cut down with an 1/8 ounce head in it seemed to really, really be the deal. The more pressure that these fish had on them, the more baits that they saw, it seemed like the less I could actually move my bait. So what I ended up doing for the majority of the tournament was actually dead sticking this okie worm inside piles, around a dock piling, where a cable would meet the bottom. Any high percentage area where I felt like a bass may be sitting, I would simply put this thing in that little strike zone in that area and just soak it. And it absolutely drove me bananas trying to fish that slow. But what I came up with and what I figured out with this okie worm is with that mega floater formula, this worm stands straight up. When I would pitch it up real shallow in some gravel somewhere, this worm is standing straight up. And again, if I ever even so much as like pulled my line tight to check and see if one had it, with this 1/8 ounce head, it would move that bait and I wouldn't get very many bites. So really had to throw this bait in the strike zone and just let it sit there, let it do its deal, and really kind of do the work for me. And all of a sudden, 5 to 8, maybe even 10 seconds later, your line would start easing off and the battle would begin. Whatever kind of brush they're using there at Lake of the Ozarks, it is not for the faint of heart. I'm sure everybody's got plenty of stories, but my goodness, the near misses that we had, we caught several that we shouldn't have, and lost a few that we really, really needed. But again, overall, it was a great tournament, and I'm always excited when I learn something new. And moving forward, I've got a ton of confidence in, even cutting this worm down. We've all seen me throw this, offshore on the TVA. Again, I'll traditionally keep it that big long profile, but a very cool way and something new that that I gain a lot of confidence in. I'm not one to let a bait soak and kind of let it sit for very long, but again, very, very fortunate. One thing I did, I really wanted to beef everything up, and you'll notice I'm actually throwing this on a bait caster setup. So I've got a Baits Hundo. It's a 7 1-to-1 gear ratio. I've got 30-pound braid with a 20-pound fluoro leader. So I'll traditionally fish, 15, maybe 17. This week, again, whatever kind of brush, whatever kind of tree that is, hardwood that they're using, it is thick and gnarly. And with me having to have so much slack out, oftentimes I feel like these fish actually had my bait for a while before I realized it. So they had plenty of time to meander through the branches, and that 20-pound fluoro with that braid and a bait casting setup, it really gave me the torque and the momentum to turn that head and get her coming in the direction that I wanted. However, I will say something that I've learned in the past is not in doing this with the braided fluoro, it's very, very important to not overpower the bait. So again, this is a 2/0 owner, Beast weedless wacky hook. I think it's the Beast. It's the owner jungle hook's what it is. Wacky jungle hook, weedless. It's a 2/0 version, so it's pretty stiff, pretty heavy. But had I had this on our, traditional flipping or big jig rod, a 745 or even a 734, you're probably going to open that hook up a little. So this is a Cadence Series 713. It's, a 7-1. It allowed me to really make good roll cast and skip. But that 3 power, kind of that medium heavy fast action, it just seems to be that perfect, it's got, again, enough backbone, but it's not so stiff all the way out to the tip where you're going to flex and open some of these hooks out. So again, great week. Super, super thankful to pull off the, Angler of the Year there in the Toyota in the Plains division. That was something that obviously it's everyone's goal going into the season, and with us falling just a hair short there on the invitational side, it was certainly something that that I was really, really pushing for and wanted to do. So, again, wrapping that tournament up, we hopped in the truck and jumped down to Pickwick to finish out, the BFL season with the regional down there. Huge congrats to Mateo and Clint O'Connell. There were a ton of good fishermen, Harbor, a lot of great guys that made it to the All-American. It's really cool. It's something that, I was so focused on trying to win that tournament. And again, huge shout out to Mateo and that win. That was really, really special for fall weights to be that high and to catch them that good 3 days in a row. So huge, huge shout out to him and all of the other qualifiers. But, I had my sights really set on that tournament to win, obviously. Not that we don't in any other tournament, but, boy, I really thought that was going to be a good opportunity for us. And now looking back on it, I'm obviously extremely excited. It's all kind of set in and sunk in with the All-American, and I'm really, really pumped to get over there. That's a great, great shot and a great opportunity. Really appreciate it. Everything that MLF is giving us and the opportunities that, that they're putting forward. So it was a great week. Caught a ton of them roaming, caught a few around brush. Again, it's funny to kind of see that transition of Pickwick and really all of these TVA lakes with the pressure and all the things that are, with any river system, they're always changing and things are always having to adapt according to those changes with the ecosystem. So it's really fun with the hurricanes that we had. It was really different, but again, kind of this typical TVA. And so we had a great week. We wound up 4th there and caught most of those fish on a glide and on a minnow. That little G-stroll head from Buckeye, man, it's got that wide gap on it, and it's a smaller hook, so it's a little intimidating to put it on kind of a bigger minnow, a bigger bait. But I'll tell you, I've been really impressed with that, and didn't lose any that particular tournament. I just simply did not get the bite. So again, huge shout out to Mateo and everybody there. But just wanted to recap and kind of give you a rundown of what we've been doing. I've been a little bit silent here for the last few weeks, been hustling and so we're back home. We're trying to unpack and get the shop a little bit organized. We're headed out to the Toyota Championship here in a few weeks. Really, really excited about that. Going to be on Wheeler, another TVA lake, and another great opportunity for us to try to close out the year. Again, I cannot thank everyone enough for all the support and the outpour of kindness. It's really been a special year. It's going to be really, really hard to top this year and to really surpass what we've done this year. But I really look forward to trying and adapting to the new formats and kind of all that's ahead of us here in the next couple months and a few years. So again, I so much appreciate all the support. If you can, please like and subscribe. We're really trying to hustle in the off season here to provide you some good content. We've got some really cool things coming down the pipe, some good ideas, and but again, we're always open. So if you have any, please leave them in the comment section. We're always up for new concepts, new ideas, new things to talk about. Anything that we can do to help make you all a better angler. That's absolutely what we're here for. So again, look forward to seeing everyone soon, and I appreciate the support so much. Thanks, guys.